Lana Farr, class of 1962, was a member of the second class of women to pass through Muhlenberg College. The intellectual and social experiences she had at Muhlenberg shaped not only her time as a student, but touched her adult life. The adjustment from an all-male school to coeducation was a difficult one.
There were many more men than there were women, and many of the men did not seem to welcome us.
But in other ways, the men welcomed new opportunities.
I don't think there was a Friday or a Saturday night that I didn't go out.
In those first semesters, meals were served family style. 2 women were assigned to each table of men and were responsible for serving the food. One night, the guys made Lana feel particularly unwelcome.
These guys grabbed the plates and they took all the food, and there was nothing left. There was bread and it was on the table next to the guy who was sitting to my right, and I said to him, "Would you please pass the bread?" And he looked at the guy next to him and he said, "She said, please pass the bread." And then they all, like they were doing the rap thing. She said, "Please pass the bread." She said, "Please pass the bread." And they're all doing this, and they're passing the bread plate around between them. And then it ended up down at the other end of the table. The guy started throwing the bread. And I can just remember just sitting there and saying, "Don't cry. Whatever you do, don't cry."
Despite this memorable dinner, Lana's positive experiences outweigh the negatives.
The most valuable thing for me was that I learned to have men friends, so that men were just people. Really needed to stop thinking in gender terms and just think in terms of yourself as just one more person in the class. I was very often in exactly the same situation. In the 1970s, people who were doing development and public relations in colleges were basically men. I mean, I was the first woman in that kind of a position at Muhlenberg, and I would go to conferences and to meetings and very often be the only woman there, and it never even struck me as anything unusual.
The most enriching experiences for Lana at Muhlenberg were those which provoked thought.
But mostly for me, Muhlenberg was about the intellectual life and the academics and the wonderful discussions that we used to have in the dormitory and sitting in the student center. I would end up in these discussion groups and we would talk about everything. I mean, about the existence of God and about art and music and theater.
While forging the way for future generations of women, Lana took away with her rich memories, stimulating ideas, and important skills that would lay the foundation for the rest of her life.